Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello everybody and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. I believe this to be the 208th. 208. It's a lot of episodes. It is the Moon Knight's Watch. Those who hear it. Those who don't, won't. And for maybe the last time for the Moon Knight's Watch, I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up? It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. As I said, potentially the last time with the Moon Knight's Watch. We got the season finale this week. And
I have a feeling we'll be back.
I too have the feeling we will be back.
Maybe he hops to a movie, but I feel like he gets another season.
It feels like a shoo-in for another season at this point. I'm not gonna lie. Especially with the way the episode went and the cliffhanger they leave us on, I don't get the impression this is the lead into a movie. It seems like this new dynamic needs a season of television.
The scam of the century, dude. Let me just say it. Khonshu pulled off one of the biggest heists in history. Dude,
this man nailed it.
Stole a human without him knowing. Okay. You're just off rip. You think that Khonshu saw Jake Lockley right away? Like, do you think Jake Lockley has always been a thing? And in the reason Stephen and Mark don't think about it is because it's just the persona that takes all of the abuse. So they literally just it blanks out of their memory. And Khonshu could be the only one to see that in him, maybe. Knew that and was like, oh, you're perfect. Because he was like, I can feel your pain. You are fractured. And then he stopped for a second. Then he's like, oh, you're perfect for what I need right now. You're a perfect avatar for the time. And I don't know. No way they're hopping into a movie though. This breeds a whole new season.
I think it does. You know, I had that concern with Loki specifically. You know, where we leave that. I don't think we'll have Loki and stuff again until Loki season 2 happens. At least not our Loki, the Loki we know. Frankly, I'm left in the same place here after Moon Knight. The way that he's been so closed off from the rest of the MCU, it's been as back and forth I have been on this show. One of my favorite things about it is that it has been extremely secluded. It has been on its own. You know, it's on its own island in terms of the MCU. There's nothing else interfering with it.
Yeah, I guess whenever I'm thinking of Loki, I'm thinking, he probably doesn't come back until season 2 of Loki. But I mean, I'm also thinking of some other Disney Plus series here. We have Mando and Boba Fett intertwining. Having some Boba Fett episodes just literally be Mandalorian episodes pretty much even when it comes down to it. So who knows, maybe the shows aren't only where they're going to pop up. I could see Loki maybe popping up in Thor Love and Thunder or something along the lines for a little bit, possibly.
Yeah, potentially. But even the movie we are going to see tomorrow night.
That's true. Crazy.
Madness.
Bam. Moon Knight finale. Boom. Go to bed. Wake up. Doctor Strange. What?
Dude, I'm fucking ready. And I'll try to, steer clear of the topic for the most part. But it is super awesome.
Yeah.
That we got this back to back with the Multiverse of Madness premiere pushed right up against it. It worked out really well. But
I'm just refraining from saying that this just wasn't one of my favorite episodes. I just don't want to get to the hard part of the conversation, which is that this was kind of a little bit of a letdown for a finale.
It was a bit underwhelming, and I'll tell you, I rewatched it, and so I watched this morning before I go to work. I go to work, and recently our top 100 comic book character episodes have released, so I decided to run back through those, just listen to those a little bit, get me back in touch with the comic book, just fucking what I love about the shit, because I feel like I've been too in my head about my critiques of Moon Knight. Because there are plenty, and this is going to sound sarcastic, but I promise it's not. I don't love the MCU because it's good, or well done. There are plenty of things in its backlog that are objectively, critically not good that I absolutely love. And I needed to re-enter that mind space of sort of like, just because it's the new thing, I'm being critical. And there's a reason, like I do a podcast. I want to be fair to the critic side of it as well as my MCU loving fan side of it. And because we've been doing that 52-year journey through film, and I've been in a really, really critic mindset, I think that kind of took over with Moon Knight a little bit. And on reflection, and it's interesting that this finale, like you said, we talked about this off mic earlier upon finishing it. It's fast.
Very quick.
Boom, thing, 35-minute episode or something like that without credits.
Yeah, I mean, and not to say that what the things that we wanted to happen, happened, big things happened. It wasn't like it was just little events or anything.
It was nothing but big things, though.
Yeah, but it was just all just so fast. You didn't have time to think about it or what it meant. It was just bang, on to the next thing. Oh, shit, he's flying. Oh, shit, Amit is growing 50 feet tall. Oh shit, now she's fighting Khonshu. Oh, okay, she's now trapped in Harrow's blood. I don't know. It was just oh my god. And I guess really from the start, whenever he just walks out of the field of reeds, puts the heart in Steven's hand, bang.
Oh no, yeah. I last week I speculated there's no way that there's that Mark and Steven can figure this out on their own. Layla's going to have to make a deal with Khonshu, and they're going to have to go figure this out somehow. I don't know how they're going to get this all done. And the way they got it all done was by simply going, guess what? Mark's just going to turn around.
Wow. Hey, 2 of our predictions did come true. Amit came this episode and Jake came this episode.
There you go. There you go.
Kind of the 2 shoo-ins, kind of that we knew that were going to come right. I guess start the episode with Layla / Harrow kind of really did, because Steven's and Mark's moment was so short. So, I mean, I'd say that one's pretty right.
Well, and it actually doesn't happen until after we've spent a little time with Harrow and Layla. On rewatch, I was like, I really, from a pure comic book media fan sort of perspective, this finale is fucking entertaining. It is, I mean, and it has, credit to it, one of the best action sequences in the whole of the MCU. That fight where, Steven and Mark are going back and forth between Mr. Knight and Moon Knight persona. That whole thing was absolutely awesome. Introducing Layla in the Tabaret avatar suit with her wings and shit. That was absolutely badass. The way they fought together. Can't wait to show you some of the new skill sets we've got. I was like, oh, this dude's a fucking dork. I love it.
He was clean with it, though.
Oh, he was clean. He said muscle memory go.
Devil sticks. Yeah. Man. Yeah. He's like, oh, I'm Mark too. Bam. Instantly just
I just need to try and my body will do it.
I love how just connected they are now. There's no
dude, by the end
moments
of
whenever they change. It's just instant.
And that's the thing. When I look back on this series, I'm like, it's a series of phenomenal events, amazing performances, stellar moments. But my issue with this episode is kind of an issue I have with the larger series. What's getting me there in between? I want to get to know these characters not just through their massive moments. Because these shows, because they're only 6 episodes, they're just series of massive events in their lives. And I'm cool with that, the spectacle of it all, but There's a reason that 13 episode series works on Daredevil.
Yeah.
I fucking love Foggy and Karen.
Yeah, true.
Like, I want to know what they're up to.
Sometimes you
They're
barely
not
get
doing any of the superhero
yeah.
shit.
Sometimes you barely get any Daredevil in an episode there. You'll like only get Karen and Foggy. Or like even sometimes only Karen. Like, I mean, she goes on runs whenever she becomes like a journalist and everything. Like,
True.
I mean, that's crazy. Like, they can afford to do that with 13 episodes. But here, like, I don't know, this show could have really benefited if this was split up into 2 episodes. And I think like if they involved Jake somehow and like getting out of there and like made it more of a battle,
That's
to know him a little
what's
more.
really interesting to me. Is that like I don't get them being able to return to life and then them being like, yeah, but they really didn't have all their shit figured out, like at all.
I guess they were like completely unaware of Jake though.
Yeah, true.
So I guess
that's what I've been saying in my head. That's what it has to be like.
Yeah.
Because they're not aware of it. It doesn't even matter in terms of what's making them complete. They need to accept and embrace each other. And that moment is the strongest moment of the series for me. When Mark goes down before Steven and is like, you saved me. So I'm here with you, man. Like this is we're good. Puts the heart in his hand, and I was like this morning I was tearing up. I was crying. This episode got off to a start where I was like, oh fuck yeah. Like this is what we're gonna do.
It. Yeah. Bang.
Yeah, this is what we're gonna do. And as strong as that moment was, they don't come close to matching it the rest of the episode in terms of real heartfelt storytelling.
Yeah.
The rest of it is really, really MCU-ified. We've said how much we've liked the show bouncing back and forth between like being like, okay, yeah, this felt very MCU-y. Oh, this didn't at all. This was brand new. This episode started on a hot note, and then it slowly we got more and more in that territory where I was like, yes, this is an MCU show after all.
Yeah, a little bit there at the end. I mean, it was just so like Layla just becoming like Toetta, like that was just so fast, and like that just like happened. Like she just came over her body and was like, "Oh yeah, thank you for agreeing." Now, boom, I have a really cool costume, and like I don't know, I guess I thought there was going to be more time spent in like the Field of Reeds and like in that realm. For a little bit
did
first.
Too. Like I didn't think that we would make it out of there as quick as we did by any means. And frankly, maybe if that part's allowed to breathe more, maybe I feel a little bit differently about the episode itself. But that's like 7 or 8, 9 minutes of this episode. And it's a 35-minute episode. So it was a tiny bit of a tiny episode.
Yeah.
So it was just...
Man. And when he's like, I guess what opened the gates of Osiris still? Because like they weren't even sure what was going to happen in the first place. Like she was like, this never happened before. Like, I don't know. Like I can take you there. I don't know what's going to happen, even if your souls are like complete and if the scales are balanced. So like, it doesn't seem like
I think it was Osiris.
Yeah. You think it was like a last ditch? Like, oh fuck, Khonshu was right. Let me.
Oh yeah. Like I think it was like I see what's going on up there. It's loose. Seems like Khonshu's got a way to stop it. Go ahead, man. But like Tabo Red even says like, oh, Osiris, you big softy. Like it seems to me the only one who can open the gates of Osiris is Osiris. I don't think anyone else has that ability. So like,
that's pretty cool. I didn't catch the like that he was a big softy. I didn't catch that.
Oh yeah, she was on the boat when she was like cruising in, and she was like, "Here I come," and then she like splits the sand for them to keep going. Right before, like during that, she was like, "Osiris, you big softy." And I mean, Steven's
I guess why was that
there,
wave like happening though? Like, was it just forcing them in there because they needed to go? Like, it was like, do we need you now? Like, just like I was wondering, like, why that wave showed up in the first place.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe the Duat and Osiris don't necessarily work together. The Duat works to keep them in there. Osiris is okay with letting them go. And that's sort of the maybe that's the sort of deal there. I'm not sure, but that moment when Steven like looks back at her ramming the sand, he goes, "Woo! Hippo!" I was like, God, I love this.
It was
guy.
so cute. Oh,
dude, he's
yeah,
adorable.
It was so cute.
Oh my God, far and away. Throughout these shows, I love to pick out little tiny moments where it's like not a big thing, just happens, it's there, it's gone. Like last time, like haven't had a lot of those besides WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We haven't had, and then maybe a few here and there. But whenever Layla shows up and kicks Harrow out of the way when he's about to kill Mark. And she stands up or he stands up and Mark goes, "My baby."
Yeah.
Oh, I was like,
nice.
Oh my God.
I did catch that one.
That was fucking adorable. And then Steven takes over and he's like, "Oh, I love your outfit. What are you wearing?" Like,
and they're like,
and
they're
so
cool
beautiful.
with it now. Yeah.
You
and they're
look
like,
so beautiful. What are you wearing?
Yeah. And they're both like cool with like everything together. I don't know. It's just like,
dude, I love it. It was like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be fucking awesome.
And Layla, like basically Wonder Woman here, like popping all like, but in like way cooler and makes way more sense because like Wonder Woman just with the itty bitty shields blocking every bullet. I don't know, but like full pair of wings, I can believe.
Right.
So I don't know, but that's
super
sick
speed
that
helps.
they can like both fly too. I'm assuming Layla can fly, right? I mean, she has wings. Do we see her actually fly?
We did not. She kind of like flew in.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So she can fly. I don't know, it was just 16 Moon Knight fly. I didn't know that he could.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing is that as you see in this episode, Khonshu's kind of a hack.
Yeah, he's a scam artist. He can't reveal any of his secrets until it's absolutely needed.
Yo, like we're watching, like we're like, oh, of course. That's how Amit can grow so large. She eats all the souls. That makes a lot of sense. That's logical. And then fucking Khonshu shows up big as fuck and is just like, I'm here to fuck you up. And I'm like, oh, bam. Okay, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, so is that necessary? Is Amit just like being Amit and like being ceremonious about it? Like, you know, I don't know. Maybe Khonshu is legit like absorbing some souls somewhere. I don't know. Maybe
the power of the moon. You know, it was a full moon. They say that's when they're most powerful.
It was a full moon. That was just 16 the moon fully like fill up throughout the series.
Full moon in this one.
The freaking shot of like Harrow and Mark and Steven fighting, and then like Khonshu and Amit in the background, and then the moon like full, or like whenever Mark was running at Harrow on the pyramid, and the moon was like taken up, like it was like sideways, like with the pyramid of Giza on one half, the moon on the other, and then them just like you're sprinting at each other. Like there are some cool shots. Like
dude,
for sure.
That's what I mean. Like
Very
there are
comic
some
book-y.
exciting moments, and as a comic book media fan, this is electric. It's super entertaining. You get a giant kaiju battle. I didn't expect that. I didn't think Khonshu and Amit were going to rise to the size of the pyramids themselves and fight over Cairo. Like, no, didn't see that coming, but awesome. I'm here for it. You know, like Steven and Mark coming together and fighting, switching back and forth, like the comic book media side of things. This is epically fun. It's just that, like, I think critically the series lacked overall. And the reason it lacks for me is that they told us it was something it wasn't.
It's just what happened with Loki too. Like
they told us this was a massive character deconstruction, like a character study on Mark Spector. No, it wasn't. It was the same as everything else with like as much heart as WandaVision had.
Man, why are they going with these 6 episode series, man? Like Hawkeye, was that only 6?
Yeah.
It worked with Hawkeye. It was just a smaller story.
It was a
more
smaller
contained.
story, and it worked because it was a
Yeah.
smaller story. Like,
It's just like a Christmas special too. It was cute, you know. It
And
filled
that's-
its role.
and
But like,
there's that thing though. It's the expectation that ends up bogging down what, like, because I reflect on Hawkeye ultra lovingly.
Mm-hmm.
I reflect on WandaVision ultra lovingly. Because going into those, I didn't expect a single fucking thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Loki,
Yeah.
I mean, like, that one's gone up and down for me. It's currently in an upward trajectory. I'm digging Loki a little bit more as of late. What If, same.
God tier.
And the Falcon and the Winter Soldier's always been solid, you know, and that's another one that kind of worked in that 6-episode format. But Loki and Moon Knight, there's a reason these are going to be the multi-season shows.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to, like, what would make them, like, choose 6 episodes over, like, 10 or 9? Do they make just more money? You know, if it's just 6. I feel like if you have people watching for more weeks, though, like, I don't know. That's the thing. It's like, I think that they're limiting themselves to, like, 6. I don't feel like it's.
Oh yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
know.
I think it's in the spirit of getting more stuff out throughout the year to build more hype for what's coming next, and so on. And so, like, that part of it is what's most annoying, is that the 6-episode format not only feels like the art's not allowed to be the art, feels like it's because the corporate side of it is like, we like churning out these shows, and it costs less to have less episodes.
I wonder if, like, we look back on this 5 years in the future, whenever Moon Knight season 2 is already out, in a movie that he probably popped up in, you know, randomly that we can't think of right now. Like, if season 1 won't seem as, like, blunt or short at the end. Like, if maybe with, like, all the pieces connected, you know, like, because they know where they're going for 10 years. You know, they've had, you know, they know the future of Marvel, and I guess they are still a company and they're going to do what they have to do to make money. But I don't know, maybe this is part of the plan. 'Cause why would they advertise Loki and Moon Knight as a singular season, but then the week before the finale, they switch it and say, oh no,
Season
this is,
finale.
yeah, like, why? That's very deliberate. And, like, I don't think that it was just for marketing, them being, like, testing the waters and seeing if people liked it. I think they know that these are multi-seasonal shows, because no way halfway through the series they're like, oh, now we have to put this ending in there because we're going to have the season 2. Like, no, it's already filmed and shut and, like, edited everything season 1. And, like,
absolutely, you know, and I think that for Loki, it was probably a little bit more of like a going into it, they were pretty sure this is going to be multi-seasonal, because that ending is infinitely more open than this ending. I'd say,
literally.
you know, like, oh yeah, like it's holy shit, that opened the door for so much more in that story, instead of, you know, at least this one, you do get the ending of the Amit and Harrow arc. You know that's done.
They're gone, right?
Yeah, you know what, like, really, I guess that, you know, Amit was in Harrow, and that was going to be a problem until, you know, he died. I did not want Harrow to die, though.
I really thought for a second that Layla was going to sacrifice her own body. Like, because they were like, we need a human body or whatever. And like, she was the only one there. And I thought, like, for a second it was about to happen. I'm like, no, definitely not Layla. But then they were like, no, grab Harrow's body. And I'm like, oh, wait. No. Like, wait a minute. Like,
because, I mean, like, and it's because of Ethan Hawke, man. Like, that dude's, like, this was a fantastic role for him. He bodied this week to week.
Yeah, and he was Khonshu's last avatar. We could have had a lot of, like, conversation between, you know, the current and previous avatars. Right, you know, and, like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's dead, though. I don't know if maybe
yeah.
some way that Amit can somehow protect him in this, and he comes back. Who knows? Like,
I think that's that.
but
for
like
that,
2
man.
shots to the head, you know.
3.
Oh, it was 3. Damn.
Yeah.
So
Well, 3.
Oh.
Yeah, it's always 3. 3 of everything.
Wow.
But yeah, man,
The credits.
that post-credit scene was very interesting. It did flip the script for what we know about Khonshu a little bit. It was like, yeah, what you thought was the case was he's definitely a fuckboy. Definitely a fuckboy.
I was rooting for him a little bit. I was like, maybe
he is on the right side versus Amit.
Yeah, and I was rooting for him, and then, damn, he's really just a god, you know.
Yeah.
He's just a god,
power hungry, wielding that power willy nilly, and but the introduction of Jake Lockley and Jake Lockley getting them out of that situation with Harrow, whenever he was sucking the life out of him when they were surrounded by, dude, what is Jake on? This man is fucking people up.
Dude, right. Because, yes, whenever, like, Harrow was about to do him in,
he had no chance. Like, it was like,
damn,
Mark was
yeah,
like,
what? I didn't think about that. It's like a bomb went off, and Layla was like, Mark?
It was like sucking it was like the thing that Harrow was doing was like sucking the Egyptian power off of him. Like, it was like, he was done for. And then he blacks out. Everyone around him is dead.
Layla is speechless.
He's about to put a fucking axe in Harrow's forehead. And Layla's like, I just watched you kill 15 people.
In 5 seguns. Yeah, that's what it seemed like. It seemed like it was kind of like just a done, like all and then done. I guess I hope we figure that out like next season. I hope we see that.
I don't know that we'll see exactly that.
Yeah, but like I hope we just see what he does during this time.
I do too, because he seems like the way that they're painting him out, he's going to be the biggest. But that's the other thing, is that like this is also stuff that Mark is capable of if he just lets loose.
And that's Khonshu's whole plan. Mark won't tell them, so they won't know. So he can. What else is Khonshu hiding in the bag? You know, he's hid a whole lot, and we just figured out some stuff. Who's to say he's not hiding a bunch of other shit that he could do? Like,
oh no, yeah, like that's the thing about Khonshu, is that because he's like the god of the night, he can basically do anything when it's nighttime. And
a full moon. That's an excuse to be like, yeah, you're just mega powerful right now.
Yeah. No, yeah. He's just like super jacked up right now.
Eclipse?
Because the sun is fucking shining at a specific angle on the moon, man. I feel that shit.
Or like freaking an eclipse is probably like mega, just ultra mode. You can just go full Galactus, eat a planet if he wants on during an eclipse or something.
What a king! What a king!
Who knows? I mean, he's got that I don't know what car it was, but it was rocking. All white Khonshu license. Was it a Khonshu license plate?
Oh no, it said something else. It was like I cannot remember, but yeah, that shit was kind of killer.
Spectre. It said SPKTR.
Ah, yes, Spectre.
And it was Bentley. Okay, I was
like, oh shit, and like Emily was like, what the fuck? Because as soon as someone walked up behind Harrow with leather gloves on, I went, that's Jake. And Emily went, what? And I was like, it's Jake. And then they get outside and there's the limo, and I was like, fuck yeah. Yeah, it is. It really is. And then he was like, meet my driver, Jake Lockley.
I wasn't sure off rip that it was Jake. He was my number one suspect. You know,
I mean, he had to be. Like, what else are we going to get in this post-credit?
But then I was like, wait a minute. This this doesn't have to be a character like that was in the show. This could be anyone. And then my mind was going of like, wait, who could this be? Spanish? I'm like,
Is it Val?
Spanish. I'm like, who speaks Spanish? Who's a male Spanish? You know, like what? And then like finally got to the point where I saw his face and I'm like, oh shit, no way. So,
Oh no. And I was also like, I it sounds like one of the reasons I cited whenever Emily was like, how do you know it? How do you know that? I was like, I recognize Oscar Isaac's body anywhere. I was like, I saw that man's body and I was like, that's Oscar Isaac.
And I'll know it till the day I die.
I'll know it till the day I die, my friend. And all in all, I come away from this series and on the positive notes, I'll remember all the performances were just flooring. There was only one scene this episode where I was like, all right, I get it. I loved May Mawi's acting as Layla throughout the series. But that scene where she was switching back and forth between her and Tabaret was not it.
Damn, I forgot about that until you just brought it up.
It's like I was just
it shows. I mean, it shows how Oscar Isaacs is like. We knew and we appreciated how impressive that was just before we saw the Layla's, but now it makes me appreciate it even more. That like
because it made it so clear how hard it is to switch like that.
Yeah.
Because like and you know Layla had like I think she had a far harder job because she was going between like a broken, sad, teary-eyed and upbeat Tabaret who's
True.
like that's a lot harder of a transition to make. Don't get me wrong, like but man, I had a tough time watching that scene. It was one of those ones where it was kind of like, oof.
I did have a prediction that I was sus of Dr. Harrow. Why his feet bleeding whenever Mark goes back for a little bit and Steven go back for a little bit? Why are his feet bleeding whenever he's walking back to his chair and he makes those bloody footprints?
My thing is that this episode, for me, confirmed that this is a construct within Steven's mind. Or Steven and Mark's mind. And this was him kind of taking control over the reality and knowing for sure this isn't real.
Yeah, because, I mean, it happened, like, whenever he became Moon Knight again, like, he died. So, like, he's dead again. So, I guess, like, whenever you become an avatar, you die first, then come back. Which is kind of interesting, because, like, am I reading that right, or am I thinking, like, too far into it, or, like...
No, I think it happened to be, like, I think it just happened to be what happened to Mark a couple times, because, I mean, Layla just becomes Tabaret's avatar.
True.
Yeah,
because I was like, did he die right there? Like whenever he came back, like I don't know. Oh wait, no, that's whenever he sets him free. Sorry, that's whenever he's like, no, like
I set you both
I'm
free.
done. Yeah, I'm free. So like let me go. And then he loses the suit and then goes into his psych ward again.
Oh, I see what you mean. My bad.
Huh. So maybe because then the next time Mark or Steven wake up is in bed back in London. So like, what happened there? How long has Mark Spector just been taken over?
No, yeah, like you reminded me of what peeved me the most about this episode, and it was expressly the ending. That was the most abrupt part. We went from like, yeah, this shit's happening, to, oh yeah, Mark just fell face first onto the floor and we're cutting to black. And I was like, wait, okay. Like, we're not going to get any aftermath here. Like, we see Steven and Mark come to this sort of okay place, like where they're switching in and out without doing the whole like the whole blinking and the whole tick that came with it. Like they're just boop, 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 back and forth. They're able to do that now. And when he was delivering that monologue to Harrow, going back and forth, again, one of those things that made me just go, wow, this man's good at acting. Like on a dime.
The switches are so smooth and instant. Yeah. It's insane. Like not even just the voice, the whole facial structure. Like it's crazy. I think they have kind of an easier way out whenever he's like switching between the suits, but his mask is still off. I think whenever he switches, they change his hair a little bit. Whenever he goes back and forth between Steven and Mark. So it's like, but his facial structure is different too, like to say, but like. I've
noticed that too. I think Steven has a little bit of a more pushed up hairstyle than Mark. Mark has a little bit
but like whenever he's sitting just in the therapy chair, like he's just on his own, no Moon Knight,
he's just twitching.
Just bam, like instantly. But
yeah, no, he's mad impressive, and the performances all around really were. Ethan Hawke, May Kalamaui, Oscar Isaac, of course. And that's what I'm going to try. That's what I'm going to remember whenever I think back on this series. I'm going to remember the badass shit, because I think more so than any series so far, this had ups and downs. Like it felt so, wow, this is peak at points, and I do not like this at other points. You know what I'm saying? Like it really did have this sort of up and down nature to it for me. But
just very quick, man. Yeah.
Quick. So the way I wanted to top off this episode, we got a few things. I wanted to do the episode rating, of course. Then I wanted to rate the show as a whole, not take the averages of each and calculate it that way, but just generally looking back as an entire story. Now that we have the whole of it, how are we feeling? You know. And then to top it off, you might have forgotten, considering it's been fucking 5 months since we last had to add anything to it, but the Marvel tier list, baby.
Whoa!
It's time.
Let's go. Yes, we got it on here. Perfect.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Fuck yeah. I did forget about that, but now I'm glad it's back.
Oh, it had to be. And we're going to have another thing to add just next Wednesday is when I'm hoping to have the Multiverse of Madness pod out. But
sick.
Very excited.
Let's go. Hype. All right. So, well, I guess ratings wise,
let's start with the episode, the season finale in and of itself.
Gods and Monsters.
It's kind of a fire title.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I won't lie. That's kind of the first time it registered in my brain, because whenever I watched it at like 3 a.m., I saw it as episode 6.
Episode 6, yeah.
So that's a pretty cool title.
Yeah, I didn't know the title until just now.
All right, you know what? It's 5s across the board for the episode now. It's
Gods and Monsters is hard. I love that. But enjoyment. I think I'm gonna have to go somewhere kind of middle of the road as far as this episode is concerned, because while reflecting on it and giving it a rewatch, it had a lot of great moments that I was really excited about. That first time I watched it, I was mad annoyed. Like I was like, okay, we are moving here.
Yeah.
Come on, let's let this breathe a little bit. I want to see what happens.
It was
so. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. Whenever they fell face down and then it cut to black, I literally went like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
What? Like, no way. Like, I know there's a post-credit scene. I understand that. Like, I don't know if it's connected to the story. I don't think it's going to be a huge, like, it's still only a post-credit scene left. I'm like, no way, that's it. I don't know. I'd say, I mean, the lowest enjoyment we've had is episode 2. That was at a 3.75. I feel like I enjoyed this episode. Like, I would watch this episode over episode 2.
Oh, you know, that's the thing here, is that the moments were so strong as just a comic booky ass episode that this was fun.
Yeah.
You know, like a great deal of my enjoyment of this episode is from just how exciting it was at points. And it will be memorable. I think that's important. Like, I'll remember the badass moments in this episode. I can hardly tell you what happened a couple weeks ago on episode 2.
Yeah. Summon the suit. He fell and summoned the
fell
Steven
and
suit
he
for the
landed in
first
the
time.
superhero pose, fell over, was like, oh, no.
CGI looking jump across the building and
Yep.
stuff. But okay. It's slowly coming back. But yeah, these big moments, it was like, bam, they're back from the Field of Reeds. Gates of Osiris. Boom. They're alive. Mark's still, or Khonshu realizes it. Bam. He's Moon
That was
Knighting.
a cool moment,
Like,
by the way, whenever he was like, I can't feel Mark on this plane to Layla. And then as soon as he revived, he went, Mark?
See ya. Swoop. Just instantly dipped. Amit versus Khonshu. Freaking Mark v. Layla v. Harrow. Like, or Mark and Layla v. Harrow. I made it sound like it's a free-for-all. Kind of was there whenever Jake Lockley came out, it seemed. I don't know. I feel like he still knows to not mess with Layla. I guess he still understands that, so.
All in all, I think this probably ends up on a similar playing field as that first episode, like a 4 out of 5. Coming into the first episode, it was like a bare bones, like, I didn't know what I was getting into. We got into it, and I was like, you know what? That's all right. It took a couple watches, and I was like, I'm really in on that second one.
And now this way, we knew what we were getting into, but we were like, okay. Sure. Well, I'm okay with it. Upon rewatch, it's getting better.
Yeah. That's the same shit for this one for me overall. I think it's a 4 out of 5 enjoyment.
I guess I don't know. Think about the end of a comic. I mean, I've just read my first comics, like ever in real life. I've read comics now, and the very end of comics are usually some big crazy sequence that happens, and every frame is something huge that's happening back to back to back. And you're reading, it's like, oh my god, fucking like. I mean, just like this episode, it was just bang, 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 big revolution after big revolution. So I mean. People say that like they're not very comic book, what's the word? Loyal?
Accurate.
They're like accurate, yeah. But like I guarantee you there's so many freeze frames from this episode that's in some Moon Knight comics.
Oh yeah.
Like they do it with almost everything. So I mean
certainly.
I think a 4 out of 5 is good. I mean, I guess that's kind of going into the genre too. Like how did this fill the supernatural fantasy comic book vein? Like
it was very effective. This was another one that kind of puts me in that spot that's like I had last week, and less in the supernatural way and more in the just like this is epic way. Like the fantasy was just way upplayed in this episode. That kaiju fight is one of my favorite moments we've gotten in recent Marvel. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, that's fun as fuck, Amit versus Khonshu, big as fuck, fighting next to a pyramid. Hell yeah, give me that.
I didn't even think. Maybe the wave that happened in the other realm was Osiris sending up all the souls that like just got judged. Like back up or something like that, like open the gates and let them come back too. I don't know, because I guess they were all just out on the street or like wherever that happened still, like just laying there, and we didn't really see what happened to them. But
no, yeah, I think we have very little reason to believe they're anything but dead. I think Harrow committed mass murder, and that was just kind of that.
Damn, he really did that. Like, and Amit was like, knew that Harrow's scales were off and was like, nah, you're good. Like you brought me back. I don't care anymore. You'll do what I say.
Talk about a toxic relationship, man. She was like, nah, you're an evil motherfucker. Your scales aren't balanced. But goddamn, yeah, I need you. I want you. I need you on my team, bro.
Man. Well, at least they died together.
They died together as they deserved. But genre-wise, I hesitate to go full-fledged 5 because no matter what, that story does matter in a genre rating. and this one didn't hit quite right, and I think that's probably fair. A 4.8 is right in the genre. It did solid on a lot of fronts, but when it comes to superhero storytelling, the storytelling aspect wasn't super effective.
True. Yeah, like I'm reading an actual book too right now. Long novel. Harry Potter. It's kind of a children's book. Harry Potter.
Fuck it.
They get more adult, I guess. The only reason I say that is because I was looking for the first Harry Potter book in a library, and I spent all my day, I spent a good 20 minutes in the young adult or fiction section where the other Harry Potter books are for 4 through 7. And I'm like, yo, I'm getting pissed. I'm not seeing 1 through 3. What's going on? I go to 3 different libraries and I see all the same books that are just in the young adult section. I finally,
you're like, no way everyone's reading the first 3 Harry Potter books.
And I finally just at a last ditch effort, I'm like, maybe it's considered a kid's book. At the last library, I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to go check the kids section. The first 3, all of them there. And I'm like, I guarantee you the first 2 libraries I went to, they were there too. I guarantee you. And
that's so funny. Oh yeah, they absolutely were. Because if 4, 5, 6, and 7 all were just sitting there, 1, 2, and 3 were.
Yep. Yeah.
That's outstanding.
But my whole point of reading a full novel was it is very, very nice to have this stretched out time where I can learn all this information about all these characters and all these little intricacies. And that's all they had to do. 3 more episodes. 4, even 2 more episodes. 1 more episode would have been nice.
Oh man, yeah. I finished the Fellowship of the Ring. J.R.R. Tolkien, who is just notorious for stretching shit out, possibly longer than it needs to. I can tell you, man, I love that shit though. I
all
love
the
every little thing, every little detail about you walking through the fucking woods, man.
Yeah, or this character really loves cheese on the top of his bagels. I don't need to know that when I'm watching a movie that someone likes cheese on their bagels, but in a book, it feels nice for some. It's just long, stretched out. It's nice to know these little tidbits.
Well, and I think that works too, especially in TV. Maybe not a movie. But a TV where you're allowed to get a couple more episodes where we can just casually be with the characters. Imagine if at any point, Mark and Layla just got to sit down.
Damn, they really didn't get to it all.
No, never once. Yeah. They were always doing something. And that's the danger of the 6-episode series. It's an urgent story. They always figure out how to make it an urgent narrative so that they have to do it. I think the best example of us just getting downtime with characters was the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Them chilling, hanging out, fixing the boat. And you know what's probably the most heartwarming relationship in any of these fucking shows right now?
Yeah.
Bucky and Sam.
Shit, Loki. Whenever they were just on Lamentus talking.
Exactly.
Whenever it did slow down. WandaVision, whenever it was just them chilling most of the time.
That episode of Hawkeye. Where they get to just hang out and drink at Clint's apartment and they have a Christmas movie night.
Yeah.
That shit hits. Moon Knight didn't have one of those.
Damn.
It was all gas.
Which is not always a good thing. Learning now. I thought I would like that. A show that would just be all amazing moments. But now I'm realizing I like it when it slows down a little bit.
You need those human, you need the human things. And what was the example we went to that was the most heartwarming shit from this episode besides, Steven and Mark nearly dying together? When Layla comes and saves his ass and he's like, my baby, wow, you look beautiful. What are you wearing? That shit's cute. Just them being there together for even half a second, pretending none of this other shit is happening.
Yeah.
Oh, hippo.
Those are the cute moments. Those are the things that I'm like, oh man, a nice little breather moment, but
they just don't provide those. They didn't provide those a lot in this series. And, with reason, like I said, it was an urgent narrative. Things needed to get done. There was always somewhere else to be, always something else to do. Except for that first episode, but even then it was spent in this endless confusion.
Yeah. Did not expect Jake Lockley to be a cliffhanger. You know, I thought he would be a story device, you know, or just like a character that was like
character.
yeah, just a character, not like I don't know,
Not a cliffhanger. Yeah, like
I guess he becomes a character next season now, or
he has to now. Yeah, like he's like full-fledged. He's not just coming out every once in a while. It seems he is Khonshu's avatar.
That little girl never got it, you know, answered. Because like that little girl, in episode 1, is it? That's like, how did it feel whenever you got rejected from the Field of Reeds? Like that never got really answered.
But speaking of little girl, that was a really cute moment in this episode too. Whenever Layla saved the little girl from the van,
are you an Egyptian
she was like,
superhero?
"Are you an Egyptian superhero?" And she was like, "Yes, I am."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that was a really, really cute moment, and I love that Mohamed Diab went all out for that moment. Like he was so steadfast about the Egyptian representation going into the show and how it was that was so important to him, and to have that moment carved out for that was really satisfying.
She did it like in like their language too. Like it wasn't just her saying like yes I am. It was in their language, which that was pretty sick. She gets them all out of there, saves them, and then like the little girl being like, "Oh my god!" It's like Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. You know that moment that Kate Bishop seeing him jump off the building,
just inspired this young girl in a way that will forever impact her. You know, like that's super cool. That's a really, really cool use of storytelling in superhero stories. I do have a couple more like critiques of the episode from a general standpoint, or actually, you know what? I'll save that for the overall show. We can go ahead and jump into the critical rating of this episode.
Interesting, yeah. Because I mean, I'd say the biggest gripe the biggest thing that affects the film rating is the story. And the story was good, but it was just very rushed. I don't know how much that penalizes. You know,
it penalizes it greatly.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Let me lay it for you this way. I made this comparison to you over text earlier today. How pissed were people at Game of Thrones for season 8? A season where the events, in and of themselves, super awesome. Probably would have happened anyway, and would have worked a lot better if stretched out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing that's happening with this episode, man. This episode was a series of cool moments that I would have loved to seen, but I would love to have seen them over the course of 3 episodes, not 1. And I think it's a really fair critique. Like, it's like I had to focus on it affecting my film score, not my enjoyment score, because the enjoyment aspect, it being like that, does make it fun as fuck to watch. You know, like it did make it like, oh yeah, like this will be a nice, easy 35-minute viewing if I ever want a fun superhero thing to put on. But I came to Moon Knight for what they said it was going to be. That character study, the breaking down of the character. And in episode 5, they brought us to a place where I was like, fuck yes, bring it home. And then they rushed that last little bit. And I was like, okay. They brought it home, but man, it was anticlimactic. It just kind of happened.
So what do you think the ceiling for this episode would be? You think it's...
The ceiling is what episode 2 was.
That's okay.
This is the weakest. This is the weakest episode of the series. I have very little doubts about that. Very little visually distinguishing moments. I mean, cool superhero comic booky shots, but nothing we haven't seen in the MCU before.
Yeah, the only shot that I'm thinking is Mark and Hera running down the pyramid at each other and the moon in the back. That was the only like cool, like in the camera was tilted. It was the only one that was like, I don't know, seemed set up with purpose. You know, everything else was just like, we need to show what's happening. Here we cut to this, cut to this.
Like, and I think it did have like purpose to it. You know, Mark's running uphill, Hera's coming full down steam. You know, he's got a lot more to fight coming uphill. You know, like there was definitely something there. You know, and but him to jump up and knee him in the face, he's like, I got this shit. So like there were some cool shots, and like those moments with the kaijus in the background, super dope. But not what I would say is particularly artful, like moments we've had in episode 4 and 5. And more 4. Like I for some reason 4 just sticks out in my mind. Like, wow, they did the thing with that episode. I don't know. I don't know. It was just very effective.
Yeah, I'd say like I'm hovering like 3.25, 3.5 range.
I'm cool with giving it the. I was hovering around 3.5, but a 3.25 does sound right.
Let's see what it does. See how we feel. The average of the episode coming out to like a 4.02, basically a 4. So I mean, it puts it at the second, right above episode 2.
And I would say, and it's that enjoyment rating that ultimately swings everything we do. It's like not a purely objective rating system we've got here.
Well, the genre helped it out a lot too here.
Oh, absolutely.
From episode 2 was only 4.25. This is 4.8.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that feels about right to me. I think I wouldn't want to take it any lower than that 3.25. I think that's fair. I think that it was I don't know. Shit.
Oh, come on. 3.33. Oh, it's 3 of them. It's always 3. It's always
there's
3.
3 of the 3s.
I mean, that it gives it a 4.04. It doesn't do anything, but like
no, it's funny. It's funny that you moved it up because like I was talking through it out loud and I went, shit, I don't know, maybe 3.25 is too nice.
Yeah. Oh damn, really?
Yeah, because like I said, there wasn't a lot that was like visually distinctive about the episode. I wasn't a fan of the storytelling. And those are the 2 things we usually go. You must have one of those.
Yeah. I mean, if we make it just 3, it's 3 of them, not 3.33, just 3. It's 0.01 above episode 2.
And that feels much more correct to me.
So basically tied with episode 2.
Yeah, like it wasn't like a huge step down or up from the lowest moment in this series. But it was fun. It was fun.
We'll give it that 0.01 extra.
Yeah. So yeah, this episode comes out to a 3.93 out of 5 stars. So that's not the weakest episode in Moon Knight, but just a little bit higher.
Now I'm thinking of the series as a whole, and I'm thinking if I watch this all the way through, 5 is kind of a slower episode. It is very slow. Not a lot of big things happen. So like maybe
this plays a ton better.
Oh man, if you watch the episodes back to back, it would be like
I bet this plays very well. It's just that it's not a good TV show. Probably a great watch. All the way through. But as TV is concerned, releasing week to week and storytelling that is supposed to be benefited by that release structure, it absolutely wasn't. It in fact, it detracted from it completely. It would have been a much better show to release all at once. And it not being released all at once is another tick in the category for it being like it makes us more money if we let it play out over 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Which I understand from a business perspective, but goddamn, it sucks as a viewer who wants to enjoy it. Because like 6 weeks of this, I didn't dread it. Obviously, it's MCU content. I'm excited. Oscar Isaac's performing it, and like he's kicking ass. But like, I came into every week kind of going like, what are they gonna do this week? Yeah. What this week is gonna leave me going, man, I wanted more out of it. And like episode 5 really did the heavy lifting for this series. I'd say for sure. Episode 4 was really strong. Don't get me wrong, but without episode 5, we lose a ton of emotional resonance.
I guess if we won't base our maybe I don't know, I'll do it after. I was gonna see like what the average was of just the episodes, but like I think it'd be better just to do it after we have.
I say we do it
score.
after
Yeah.
and see if it shakes out.
Hmm.
Yeah, I say let's start with enjoyment overall of this series. Where are you sitting looking back? Over the course of the last 6 weeks, how have you generally felt towards Moon Knight?
I like it more than Hawkeye, but I think that's the only show I can put below it. I think I'm enjoying Loki more. That's like the next one that would go. Falcon, Winter Soldier, and WandaVision are up there.
No doubts.
No doubt. Loki, and I think Loki's above. I think I enjoy Loki a whole lot more. Off a recent rewatch as well of Loki. I don't know, I felt a lot better on that rewatch, and maybe that happens with the show in a couple months or a couple weeks or so as well. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking Hawkeye's the only show I can kind of put below this. Like, What If? I'd rather watch What If. Obviously, my boy going off in two of the episodes. But
it's if you're putting it like that, like sort of a ranking thing. I don't put this above a single thing.
Not even Hawkeye? Like, you like Hawkeye more?
Not even Hawkeye. Can you believe that? Me?
Hawkeye won something.
Hawkeye won something over a character that I already really, really liked.
Damn.
Like that sucks. And that more than anything, that's what sucks is that this was my first experience coming into an MCU thing with knowledge of a character I already enjoyed.
Damn.
And it was not what I want. It was not what it. What's most annoying is that they told us it was something else.
Yeah.
They expressly told us it was a character study that was so deep and introspective of Mark Spector that but I mean, we had one episode that did the same thing that an episode of WandaVision did.
Sometimes I think it's just better to be a casual viewer that knows none of this, knows nothing at all. Just going into it completely blind and just,
oh, dude,
I don't know. Why tell us that?
To convince us we're going to get something new. And ultimately, I was thinking about it earlier, what my ranking of the shows is for MCU. And here goes. I'll give it to you. WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Moon Knight. Now, if you will notice, that is the release order.
Damn. Maybe they just knew what they hit well with. They knew.
I don't know that that's the case. I think it's that we're getting too repetitive, and I'm getting tired of it.
That's true.
It's just slowly and slowly, and I don't want to. I really liking this stuff, I hate that I'm not really loving. I didn't really love Moon Knight, but I didn't, and that sucks.
Yeah, I don't know. That is very weird. I'd say while I'm watching the show, though, I was in that world. I wasn't thinking of any other MCU connection whatsoever. It was very unique in that sense.
Absolutely fair.
So, I mean, I don't know. I'd say 3.75 is the floor for the show. Enjoyment,
hey,
I think
that's exactly where I was at.
Right there.
Yeah, 3. I was 3.5 to 3.75. I was that's kind of the range I want to go for this show. When it thinking about what I would rate those other shows, I think I enjoy all of those a little bit higher than that, and it's not like this show was all bad, like I said, these comic book moments were fun as fuck. I did have a great time in the moments. It was great. It made me cry at points. The performances were phenomenal, and that side of it I really, really enjoyed. but I can't help but feel like it just wasn't all there.
Unfortunate. But
very unfortunate. It sucks.
glad that we have new content though to watch every week.
Oh, absolutely.
Was still exciting
and that's that's the other side of this. As much as I hate the consumerism that has bred this type of show, I love eating it up, and I will continue to do it. There's nothing stopping me there.
Mm-hmm. Now, the genre is interesting because we started it very
emphasis on supernatural.
Yeah.
And we evolved it to sort of that fantasy feel over time.
I guess maybe we just say it's supernatural fantasy, just for the overall show. I think it's fair. I mean, shoot.
It's kind of knocking it out of the park there. Like, this is a good supernatural fantasy, I getting the Egyptian gods involved, and I never had beef with that side of it.
What happened to them?
The God side of it was dope.
Their avatars are done, huh? Or are the gods done? I didn't think about that.
I didn't think about that either.
Hopefully, but I think just their avatars.
I'd think so too. I don't know. That's an interesting thought experiment. I'm gonna go with they're fine. Like Tabaret was vibing. I don't know. They'll be fine. But
they're gods.
Yeah, they're gods. They'll be cool. They'll figure it out. But yeah, I never had beef with the supernatural side of things. That stuff was always cool. The fantasy element with the kaijus and these the all-engulfing costume and the epic fight sequences where this dude is seemingly indestructible. Like, that stuff was really, really cool. I go probably 4.5 to 4.75. I think that's a fair range. What are you feeling?
I feel 4.5 is cool.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I think 4.75 is a little too high. No, whenever I first put it down, I think 4.5 sits it better though. I mean, that's still
sits a little pretty.
Still a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Like that's the thing, is that our 5-star scale also, like, I always have to remind myself 2.5 is the halfway point, not 3.5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like 3.5 feels like the point where I'm like, eesh, I'm getting into some real low territory. I don't know about that. And so it always reflects whenever our scores come out to, like, if you were to like translate them to percentages, all of them are above like 70%, which generally everyone would say is really good.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think 4.5 is good for the genre there. And as a film, so I guess as the show in all, the total story, we're out of it being rushed at the very end, but it still happened. So it's still part of the rating, but I don't say as big of part of it. You can,
that's what's interesting about this rating, is that, like, you can consider the narrative as grand as it was, where it started, where it ended in its entirety. But you also have to take, like, I am also taking into account that episode to episode, I was not.
Yeah, it has to be executed well too.
I was getting acts of a movie. I was not getting episodes of television. It's like, it's a complete, like, the medium is important. You have to consider that, like, it being a movie cut into 6 parts makes it not good TV. Like at least in my head.
No, yeah.
And
I don't know. It was kind of like
the same way if you took like a fucking, I don't know, 4-hour movie and cut it into 30-minute chunks, it probably wouldn't be a great TV show. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's almost like in WandaVision, we were like, man, I can't believe like nothing big or nothing more happened this episode, but I'm still loving this series. We were like, not enough is happening, but we're in love with it. But here, it's almost like too much is happening, and we're like, I don't know.
Back a bit, guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think there's probably a little bit of like I I'm pretty dismissive of the idea of superhero fatigue, that at some point we'll all just collectively get tired of it and be like, nah, I'm good. Never mind. I'm going to stop seeing that in theaters. No, I don't think that's coming anytime soon. I think it's at more risk of happening if they don't do something with their content. Like, I feel like I'm watching a lot of regurgitated stuff every once in a while, and there are plenty of streaks of originality within the things we're watching, but they ultimately fall back on this generally formulaic structure that's like, you're doing something cool within that structure, but you're still doing that structure.
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to let it go.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's tough.
My ceiling for as a show is a 3.75.
Thank you. I was already in the 3 range. I knew that. It was a 3 something. I was thinking, like 3.5, 3, like, yeah.
I was at 3.5. I'm like, like that's kind of where I was sitting.
7. Is that too high?
Yeah. Maybe straight up 3.
Yeah.
It feels much more right to me. I mean,
6 out of 10 feels, whenever I'm reminded, like
it was solid. And that's how I gotta always I gotta remember general scaling. I can't let my bias every time I see something has anything below a 70% in my mind goes bad.
Yeah.
There's no for some reason there's not a nuanced middle somewhere in the it's like, there were good moments and it was solid, but it wasn't great. Not everything has to be great, it's not great or bad. There's a middle ground. I always got to remind myself of that. And I think that 6 out of 10 range is right where Moon Knight fits.
A 6 out of 10 is way different than I'm thinking ABC scale where set 60%. That's an F. That's a straight up F. But no, this is not an F series. Not at all.
Yeah,
it's
a completely different ball game when it comes to actually rating things. I'm going grades. I'm still holding on to high school.
A 6 out of 10 on IMDb. That's very critically acclaimed.
Good.
There are plenty critically acclaimed films at 6 out of 10. I'd say it only starts to get good at the high 7s, 8s, or maybe I don't know. There are some low 7s that are pretty good, but.
I don't know. I feel like every time we find a movie that's 7.8, 7.9, those are the real bangers.
Yeah. The ones that are 9 and 10, it's nah, this one's way too overhyped.
It's okay, sure, duh.
Yeah.
That one was good. I'm looking for the ones that knock me on my ass and are 7.8, 7.9. That's my shit right there. That's my bag. But yeah, I think this falls a bit below that range. I think it does sit at that 6 out of 10 overall as a series. And
averages
I think I'm comfortable with that.
To a 3.75. Lower than any of the episodes individually on their own.
And that's what happens.
Yeah. Curious.
When the parts of the whole can't fulfill the need, that's what happens.
If we were just to average our episodes, it's going to be way higher than what we gave it.
Right.
But it would be a 4 points. So nope. It just didn't work. Sorry, technical difficulties here.
Hey, no, we're chilling.
But I think I just did the genre, not or I don't think that would have mattered. So it should give me a number. But there we go. 4.39.
Man.
Yeah. So
over a half point higher.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't. No.
I think it's fair. Individually there were really strong moments, and those episodes it was reflected. But those weak moments, man, they stand out.
Yeah. Definitely.
I remember that.
Yeah, I would not give it a 4.3, like a 4.4. Like just thinking of what I would give this show. There's no way.
That's really good.
Yeah. Like I don't know if I like WandaVision's like 4 or 4. Like maybe higher.
5.
Yeah, higher. But like I don't know. No. I think 375 is
I'm much more comfortable with that. But all right, so now that we've got the finale at a 3.93 out of 5 stars, the show overall at a 3.75 out of 5 stars. Let's throw it into that MCU tier list. What do you say?
Here we go. I mean, I don't think it belongs, with the
I'm also going to throw out that I think this needs updating.
Okay.
It's kind of an ever-changing tapestry with whatever we rewatch. It's like, all right, well, we need to move this up, we need to move this down, and I'm officially over my Loki being an okay, yeah.
That's cool.
I think I can move.
Hell yeah.
I can move on.
Is it that's cool or hell yeah?
I'd go that's cool for now. I think I need to give it a rewatch before I'm comfortable going, yes, that's a hell yeah. This is purely memory. Like I'm just like, I remember it, and I'm remembering it fondly as of late. So I'm gonna give it a little bump. But given that, I think that Moon Knight is obvious. Oh yeah, and for those that don't know, I forgot it's been 5 months since we last did this. I can't expect that you've been here the whole fucking time. We have an MCU tier list that is sort of on an A to F scale. As you all are familiar, but we've changed it up a little bit to where we have the highest ranking being yo, what the fuck, for the absolute tippy top of the top. We've got fuck yes for the second tier, hell yeah for the third tier, that's cool for the fourth tier, okay yeah for the fifth tier, and for the sixth tier. And we add on to it every time there's a new Marvel thing. So I think it's time we get into it with Moon Knight. I think it's above a meh. I don't think it's that bottom tier. And I think it's above an okay yeah. I think it takes another spot here, and that's cool.
Yeah, so it's on the same level as Hawkeye, Loki.
As Hawkeye and Loki.
Yeah, and the Incredible Hulk.
Rightfully so.
Oh, that's just I'm feeling
I'm feeling pretty good about that. But looking over the general rest of the list,
want to change her up? Got any things?
There are a few things. There are a few things that I'm like, perhaps there's something there. I'm becoming I found myself becoming a little bit more critical these days as we continue becoming better at that through practice. Our fun ass project on the podcast just came around and bitten me in the ass in terms of how much I can enjoy things. I'm like, I can only enjoy things if they're a masterpiece now. Nah, but that's not the case. I have fun. We have fun. I don't know, man. Let me ask you. Let me. I don't know if this is blasphemous.
Uh-oh.
And I love it. But as a movie, did Spider-Man No Way Home warrant a new tier?
Okay, thank you. Months removed from this movie, it's like
it's solid.
Like
the thing that made it awesome was the fact that we got to see our whole childhood come together in a way we never thought we would. And in that regard, it is epic. Like it is forever going to be a fun moment I had in time. But I don't think it's all that good a movie. I think it belongs in that fuck yes tier. I think it needs to move down, and
like I feel like it should pay me to do that, but like it doesn't really.
It doesn't. Yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page. I was concerned. I was like, I have to break this to Joe somehow, so it might as well be here. It might as well be now.
It just wasn't. It wasn't it. Like if one was going down and one's going up, Logan's going up there.
Logan's going up. Yeah, that was my other thought.
Yeah.
That Logan truly is that tier
Yeah.
of a movie. I think Logan belongs in the yo what the fuck instead of the fuck yes. And beyond that, I don't know. I think a few things need rewatching. To be sure. All right, and I want to hear your thoughts out on this, just because it's been a couple months since I rewatched it, and I haven't had a lot of interest in rewatching it in a little bit, and I rewatched it a lot for a while.
It's a hell yeah.
How are you feeling about Shang-Chi being a hell yeah instead of a fuck yes?
I mean, I'm looking at these other fuck yeses: Daredevil, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, WandaVision.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Shang-Chi, and that movie was the reason it struck that chord was because it was slightly new.
Yep.
It was something that was like, oh my God, we haven't seen something like this before. I fucking love it. And the more I've gone back and revisited it, I was like, oh, so the new thing I liked was the martial arts and the way they presented that on screen to me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is, again, some pretty typical Marvel shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, like, and if you go back and listen to the Shang-Chi episode, I'm like, wow, this is fucking brand new. We've never seen anything like it. And like, we have. It's recency bias is a bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we can.
That a lot.
That's the other thing, is that I also don't know if I just like burnt myself out on it.
Maybe.
Like,
I don't think so though.
Because there are movies I can do that with and still can.
Like I don't know how many times I've watched Star Wars. I will never get tired.
Right. Like I watched Star Wars and Return of the Jedi today.
Yeah.
For like the 50th fucking time. You know, like
I wonder how many times I've watched a Star Wars movie. Like, is it 50? I feel like that's low.
Yeah, given that I've been doing it since I was so fucking young and so consistently for so many years, shit, man, I don't know.
50 is kind of high when you think about it, though. Like,
if you watch the first Star Wars movie 50 times, that's over 100 hours.
That's just the first movie? Like, are we talking any Star Wars movie counts, or like specifically like A New Hope, or like?
Okay. I guess we could go specifically one movie. And you know, it is May the 4th after all. Of course, we were going to get some Star Wars conversation in. That's an interesting one. Okay, I'd be willing to bet maybe not any given one has 50, but at least 3 have 20.
Oh, for sure. Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope,
and Return of the Jedi for me. I've rewatched the shit out of those. I mean, The Phantom Menace might be climbing.
I'd say The Phantom Menace is probably my second most, because I usually start. If I start the trilogy, I start with Phantom Menace.
If you start the saga.
Yeah, I start the saga. I feel like it warms me up to the crispy, just gold nugget that the original trilogy is. Like, I get through the prequels, and it's like I get all this Anakin backstory, so that whenever, you know, like, I know all of these things, even though George Lucas didn't plan for this in A New Hope, whatever. It just
but like it works.
Yeah.
It works because of that going back and doing it. It was, it's really impeccable shit, you know. And I
don't know, another 6-episode series that's coming out, but this one is hour-long or longer guaranteed per episode.
Yeah, Kenobi. But the other thing with it, though, is that I trust with Marvel, it's pushing the story and the grander narrative forward. Kenobi is set within a period that is set. We know what came before it. We know what comes after it.
True.
At least in 10 years before, 10 years after. Like we're working within a bubble.
Mhm.
You can only do so much in that bubble. You can't.
And he hasn't
do
done
something
anything
that makes me
either.
go,
He's like been a
oh
hermit.
my
Yeah.
fucking God, like I can't like what a twist. Like like oh my God, Obi-Wan died? No, like that's not gonna happen. Like that sort of should just like Star Wars is different when it comes to, and I was every time a Disney Plus series hits, I always gotta go, what are we looking at right now? How, like, we've had The Mandalorian, couple seasons, The Book of Boba Fett, The Bad Batch, season 7 of the Clone Wars on the Star Wars Disney Plus side. We've had WandaVision, Hawkeye, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Moon Knight, and all that on the Marvel side. You know what is absolutely washing one of them? Star Wars is washing Marvel.
Yeah.
On the TV side, for my money. Like,
yeah.
The shows are, and you wouldn't get this from talking to the fans because Star Wars fans are a nightmare.
Yeah.
But they're generally pleasing more people.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's not necessarily an indication of good, but a lot of people think they're good. I see a lot more general boredom with the Marvel series.
Yeah, people aren't as interested in it.
More.
I think like there's a lot more casual viewers that watch The Mandalorian or that watch Book of Boba Fett. Like my uncles watched Book of Boba Fett and like because like they were like, oh my God, that's Boba Fett from like the original, like from the movies. Like they know the name Boba Fett, even though he's not on screen for a whole lot. Like they know the name, and like so even like, but like I don't know, none of my uncles or none of my like older cousins are watching like any of these Marvel shows really at all.
Well, and there was this conversation about Marvel becoming too daunting for the casual fan. Like there was a tweet. There was a tweet yesterday that you haven't seen because you've been avoiding Twitter, but doesn't spoil anything, as they tried their best in this tweet not to spoil anything. They said, without trying to spoil anything, here is what you need to watch before Multiverse of Madness. When I tell you this list was way too fucking long. It was like 7 or like I think like 11 or 12 seasons of television that are not MCU. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Inhumans, X-Men the Animated Series. Like, they were listing all this shit. And like, I'm sitting there like, no, you don't need to watch those things. Like, no, you do not need to watch those things before going into this movie. There's no way your enjoyment of this movie is dependent on you having seen Inhumans, bro. There's no way.
I haven't even seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No, bro. Like, that's the thing is that, like, maybe if you've seen them, you'll understand a couple more references. But it's not like Sam Raimi has seen, like, 4 MCU movies. You think the director is making a story entirely and hinging upon these other multiple story points? Nah, man. It's just like comic books. Jump in wherever the fuck you want and catch up.
Yeah.
On your own time. The shit's fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, it is kind of tough because like someone be like, "Hey, I'm watching this really good show right now. It's so good, you won't believe it." And you ask them like, "Oh, okay, like what season are they on?" They're like, "Season 7, man. It's so good." And you're like, "Oh, fuck. Damn."
No, man,
like, nice to hear you talk about it, but like, I'm probably not going to watch that. Like it has to be like a Game of Thrones or like a, I don't know.
Whenever it happens with stuff like that, with those TV shows, like I am perfectly comfortable catching up on my own time. That's the other problem is that like it's all happening so fast that if you want to be leisurely with Marvel, by the time you get to the point when you started, the end is now 5 movies less and 6 shows less than it was when you started. You know what I'm saying? Like,
damn, that's true.
Like if you were to try to start catching up with Moon Knight right now and watch everything, you'd probably have Thor: Love and Thunder, Miss Marvel, and another thing before you caught all the way up.
Damn. Yeah, because like, you can't just watch like 4 movies in a night. People aren't doing that. Like,
Yeah, and you could like, it's a commitment, but you can do one a night and get it done in less than a month.
yeah,
But like,
that's
who are you going up to on the street and going like, I have a month-long homework assignment for you. Watch
just to
all of this
understand
shit.
this movie that's coming out tomorrow. Spend a month of your life preparing for
That
it.
was the thing, is it was after the fucking early screenings on like May 2nd.
Wow.
Bro, it's 4 days till the movie. No, I'm not gonna watch all that shit.
Well, we better get started.
Killing me.
We got a long day ahead of us if we want to watch all that stuff.
We got a full 24 hours.
I'm
We'll get through 12 movies.
Prediction, it's hitting. I think it's gonna hit hell yeah.
Multiverse of Madness, you don't think it goes to fuck yes?
Maybe. I hope so, but I think realistically, it's gonna go hell yeah. I think it's gonna maybe
do me a fucking solid real quick and move Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from hell yeah to that school. There's no reason for that to be there.
Damn.
In fact, you might be able to move it down even further than that. I'm done being your typical Marvel fan, man. I'm done doing it because I see a lot of them and they
I haven't
all
seen
annoy
it
the
at
shit out
all.
of me.
So you need to decide where it's going here. Like, is it okay yet, or is it that's cool?
Nah, it's cool. Like that's cool. Like when I actually think about it, I'll always reflect on these things lovingly. But on paper, like just on site, some of these don't belong next to other things. You know what I'm saying? It's like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., absolutely the fuck not is it on anywhere near Spider-Man No Way Home or Spider-Man Homecoming, Captain Marvel, Shang-Chi. No, that's not how these things work. And even it being there, I was kind of like, I don't know, but it's a good enough show. It's a good enough show. But like, that's what sucks about the fandom in general, man. Like I'm so glad I got into Star Wars at such a young age and have such a persisting love for it that, the fandom won't bother me. I'm like, I know what I love about Star Wars. That's been set. They have there's no doubt about that. Marvel's kind of this, it's supposed to be ever changing and it's not. And it's like, man, you just have so much opportunity there that's just not being executed properly. But a lot of people think it's God, and that fandom shit annoys me. I'm like, you gotta recognize when shit isn't that good.
Yeah. I don't know. We still haven't decided. Oh no, never mind. We did. Yeah. Like, is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right next to Moon Knight?
See, that was my thing. Is that like in certain seasons, God no. In other seasons, absolutely. Like it's just it's way too up and down of a show for me to be like certain seasons are almost certainly hell yeah. Other seasons are almost certainly meh. Like
Wow.
It's a real mixed bag there. So I think That's Cool is probably fair. Moon Knight and Loki, these multi-seasonal shows that only have one season, and I'm talking about Moon Knight like we know there's going to be a season 2, but
hopefully.
Hopefully, because I mean, shit, now that Jake Lockley's introduced, I'm like, we're not going to be able to continue this story with him in any capacity until he's addressed by Mark and Steven. And are we going to do that in someone else's movie? No matter what, it's a sequel involving Moon Knight. It's either a second season of the show or a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, and right now I see them going, yeah, give that another season before we can count on box office numbers there.
Yeah, I don't see them going into a movie.
I don't either. I don't
There's
either.
so many shows that they're releasing though. Like, so many about to drop.
Like, we still got like a bunch that were already announced that aren't supposed to come out for like another fucking year and a half. Like Armor Wars and fucking X-Men 97 and fucking Ironheart and like Echo. There is so much
when does
shit.
She-Hulk come out? And like the Skrull,
She-Hulk,
the Skrull
Secret
Invasion.
Invasion.
Yeah.
oh my God, dude, there is so much shit.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a fan,
Mm.
but the fact that it's all in development around the same time where we've had this formulaic schlock come out, I'm worried.
Yeah.
It feels very streamlined, and I don't like it when it feels streamlined. Sorry about my rants tonight. I had a couple.
No, they're warranted and very necessary.
I
Because
just think like
if it's going to be like this for the next 3 years, I don't know. Like,
God, I hope not. Like and that's the thing is that like overall, I'm cool with what we got in Moon Knight. It's just like, it just has the potential to be so much more. And knowing and having seen it done, like we've seen this shit be good. You know, we've had Infinity Wars, we've had Into the Spider-Verses, Logan's, the Batmans. I'm talking about comic book media, you know, like in general. I mean, the best superhero TV show of the last 2 years, it's probably Peacemaker.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Damn. That's rough.
that's really rough.
Yeah. Like,
I don't want Peacemaker to be my favorite and the best show to have come out of the last couple
that
years,
show
but
rocked.
it almost certainly is. I mean, I don't know, man. As soon as that Penguin, the Batman series starts rolling, if that's washing everything MCU does, I'll be willing to go DC television better than MCU.
You know, I am
I'm
not
already
one.
kind of there with Doom Patrol and Titans, man. Like that shit's
I'm
Harley Quinn, the animated series.
not one to go in with high expectations on things, but I'm expecting very high things from these spin-off DC shows. I think they're not going to be compared to the Marvel shows. They're going to be in a different league. It's going to, like, it's an HBO show. They're just in, like, sometimes they're just in a different league.
The advantage that gives the Penguin series is crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that it is going to be produced by the same place that produced Game of Thrones, The Wire, The Sopranos.
Yes, like come on, Westworld.
Oh my God, they just have so much
Chernobyl,
bigger of an upper hand on that TV game.
Too. I guess Marvel and Disney have infinite money. I don't know what I'm talking. Like the budget's not really that different, but
what they're doing with that budget is
true. Yeah,
like
I guess more of HBO's budget goes to making it more real. And whenever you have to make something more real, you can't just blue screen and have big events happen all the time.
You build the sets. Yeah. You build the shit.
You have to spend time
every
in them
set
or else it's
in
a
Game of
waste
Thrones,
of money.
They fucking built Casterly Rock. You know, like they made that place exist, which is insane shit.
It all comes down to slowing down and giving us some character moments, not just big events. That's what it all boils down to, it seems.
It always is. It always is. But you know, so I keep having higher hopes for the future of MCU television. And you know, I don't think I'm wrong for wanting something more out of these, but I also think there's a balance there where I need to accept that I probably won't get much more than what I'm expecting. And I just need to be ready for your normal MCU shit. It was just like Moon Knight seemed like it was going to be so different. The way they talked about it was different. Oscar Isaac being a part of it felt different. Like, and Ethan Hawke being a part of it felt different. Like there was a lot of things playing into
movie
it. That
stars
was like,
and TV shows. Yeah, it was like, I don't know. I guess like with WandaVision, Loki, Falcon Winter Soldier, like they were just the movie stars that were in the Marvel stuff already. So like they have to play the character. They have to be in the show.
Makes sense.
But like here, it's like they were not in the universe before. They were just brought in from. These are just huge movie stars.
And they did awesome, which is like,
which not like
always
a Jared
sucked.
Leto situation where he
where they can body the role, but fuck, man.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't know. Little disappointed, but maybe that was just me going in a little too high hope for this one at the beginning, I think.
Yeah, like, and I hate this phrase because it's so typical, but disappointed but not surprised.
Yeah.
By any means. Like, it's like, yeah, this sucks that, like, I'm not, like, fuck yes, because, like I said, there have been Marvel things that, like, I leave and I'm like, wow, I just watched that shit, like I did when I watched Shang-Chi, like I did when I watched Eternals, even for the first time. Like, those things made me go, wow, this has the chance to be something new. And Moon Knight had that chance, and it feels like it just kind of shat the bed. But things happen the way they happen. Sometimes a show's just cool.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's cool. But with that, we'll conclude this episode of the Moon Knight's Watch. Potentially the last, maybe not. We'll see. And with that, the Penny Bloom podcast comes to a close. Moon Knight coming to a 3.75 out of 5 overall on our old Penny Bloom scale. What a time to be alive. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find over 24 hours of exclusive content. And then after that, head on over to Twitter, follow at Penny Bloom Pod, follow on Instagram at Penny Bloom Podcast. If you're fucking with me and Joe, we're doing our usual shit every Friday. We got the 52-year journey through film going right now. This week, I believe it's the first episode of May. So we got 1988's My Neighbor Totoro coming up. A little anime action for that ass. Me, Joe, and Tavares all there for that episode. Very fun. And then next week on Monday, our top 100 comic book characters comes to a close. That's part 4 of 4, and therein we will have a top 100 Star Wars characters, top 100 comic book characters. Who knows if we will ever be able to do another top 100? We'll see.
My number 3 may shock you.
His number 3 may shock you. That's true. We did record. Oh yeah, and also we did record them months ago, like a month ago. So even listening back to them today, I was like, that's not the same. I was like, well, that's changed already, and like nothing new has come out of them. I've just like read more comic books, and generally like, well, now I have this person who wasn't even in my top 100 in my fucking 50s or something like that. Like, I'm like, everything is always changing. But and then after that, on next Wednesday, I'm hoping to have the Multiverse of Madness episode out. Who knows who will be a part of that beyond me and Joe? Might just be me and Joe, but we'll see. And hell yeah, man. With that, I was Colton Robertson, joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Remember, peace, love, and bloom. And woohoo! Hippo!